Hi, I'm Jen Thoden with YourColorStyle.com. I have a letter here in front of me that I'd like to read to you. So I'm going to look down just for a little bit as I read it, okay? I went gray before and I didn't like the texture. So it made sense to color. I like the wash and wear, but lately it seems to me that I have to do even more now that it's colored. So why bother even coloring it? Other people stigmatized me when I went gray. They openly said gray hair ages us and encouraged me to color. When I went back to color, they were so happy. Okay, I have a lot to say about that, but let me finish the letter first. The new problem is I went darker. And the roots have really changed, so I'm constantly having to do the roots. I've survived so much shit. Not being gray feels like an imposter. So what do I do? Grow the gray out, bleach it, go lighter? I'm so glad that I got this in front of me because this is actually an ongoing question that I have with many of the Style Club members as well as my viewers and readers of the newsletter. And I'm so happy to address it. And I will probably address it more and more and more. We get older, we gray. We may gray when we get younger, I don't know. But we all soften and we gray as we get older. And I would love it if our culture embraced getting older because there are many beautiful things about age that are not true about being 16 and about 20. There are beautiful things about that too. But growing older is a gift. And it is something that is a beautiful thing and a beautiful transformation of a man or a woman as we get older. And it really kind of sucks that our social bias reads it a little bit differently. So first of all, I want to address a couple things from this letter. I want to encourage you to embrace aging. It is a natural process and it's not something that you need to hide. Okay? And the very fact that she had shared so transparently that when she colored her hair, I'm going to assume her friends or whomever were giving her the feedback were much happier. Well, who cares? Who cares if they're happier? You should never have to do something to your appearance to make somebody else happy. You need to make sure that you're doing it because it makes you feel good. And however they're perceiving you, that's their problem. That is their bias. What sucks is that we can't help but take that bias on and want to be liked and to be looked at the way that we want to be seen. The one thing that I've learned from reading and from observation and just from notes from people in general, because I'm no expert by any means, but what I've learned is that our culture has a bias. I think in many cases it's an unconscious bias. I don't think we mean it all the time, but we have a bias around vitality. So what happens is that as we age and as we gray, the presumption is that you don't have enough energy to keep up. You don't have enough vitality to do your job well or to have the competence to do something well that somebody who's younger might. We have the same kind of bias around someone who is overweight. The more overweight a person is in the workplace, studies have shown that people assume that person is not as intelligent, is not a good worker. They associate that weight with that low vitality, that low energy, and they're obviously not going to be able to get their job done well. And it's the same thing to do with age. As we get older, that unconscious bias creeps in. You can call it ageism. And why I'm bringing all this up is because I want you to understand what people might be thinking or assuming when they see you if you have gray hair. Now, what I think is most important is how we see ourselves and how we feel and take care of ourselves, because I have also met many women and men ages 50, 60, and 70 that are so vibrant and so full of energy in life and they are naturally gray or silver or salt and pepper, and I have never once thought of them as anything less than this amazing person that's in front of me. It has a lot to do with how you position yourself in your mind, not just how you look. So if you assume that going gray is going to have people treat you differently, maybe that's true. But consider that if you're thinking about yourself differently, is that also having an effect? You can't blame it on just what other people are thinking. You have to take some accountability of how you are presenting yourself to the world. If you're going gray and you're letting yourself go and you're not giving yourself a really great cut and you're wearing, sloppy clothes, then people might assume that you're don't have the chops for whatever it is that you're trying to do. And that's not fair, but it's the bias, right? It's what people see, and they put a lot of measure on appearance. Shallow, probably, but it is the way it is. But does that mean that we need to hide our age? 100% no. So I say go gray. I say own your age and feel beautiful as you're changing, and do things to help you stay and look vital. Exercise, keep yourself healthy, eat well. Don't let yourself get so overweight that you're also fighting weight and age, right? Wear colors that really light you up. One of the things that I have learned in color analysis is that as a person grays and softens, when they are most dominantly gray, then the colors really need to be light and bright. It breaks my rule of thumb where I usually say, well, if you've got softness about you, you need to wear colors from the soft color wheel. But in this case, you want light and bright. It brings that vitality and back into you. You feel more vital, and people see you as more full of energy. As to having colored your hair too dark, I find that interesting that you don't like it, because it would be something that I would have said off the top, right off the bat. Because we naturally lighten and soften as we age, we want to make sure that we are in alignment with that natural coloring. Meaning that even though I say you should wear light and bright colors, you don't want to go too dark. Your overall coloring has lightened. So even if you had darker hair when you were younger and it is now going gray, you're lightening up, which means those dark colors are going to make you feel older. They're going to weigh you down. They're going to accent those circles and lines and not make you feel very vibrant and full of energy. And so what happens a lot of times is that as women are more and more gray, they want to wear and dye their hair the color of what they used to be. And where they think they might be looking younger, turns out they're actually making themselves just maybe older, but definitely not younger. And so you got to be really careful of what color you want to color your hair as you're going naturally gray. You want to go lighter than you normally would have, because those dark colors and those vibrant colors may be completely in conflict with how you look today, okay? So in this case, when she describes that she dyed her hair too dark, and now she's got these roots that she has to keep maintaining, and that's a really tough place to be. I have a suggestion on how you can kind of ease that out so that you can either be naturally gray or a lighter shade, because you are right, you're definitely going to want to do something lighter than this very dark. So first of all, if you want to stay naturally gray, go for it. I think it's a beautiful look, especially if you have a really nice, really good haircut, and you might have to have some treatment to soften the texture a little bit, because gray hair is not kind when it comes to texture. That would be a great thing to do. But what do you do if you've dyed it too dark and you have these roots? I love the fact that right now in trend is what's called an ombre. If you don't know what it is basically a gradation from one color to another color in your hair. If I had an ombre, it would be, say, from blonde, and it would gradate down to, say, brown or blue or red. I've seen it in colors, and I've seen it in natural hair colors. One of my favorite is my daughter had it done, and she had it where it was her natural brown, golden brown, and then it went to a golden blonde, and it was beautiful. But I've seen all kinds of variations. I have seen where it's actually on trend where women have actually colored their hair a silvery gray on top and have blended it to another color at the bottom. And I think this is a great way to transition yourself out of the dark hair, and the roots can be a little bit more graceful as they come out. So try it. See, as long as it doesn't damage your hair further, see if you can find a gray or a silver that matches your natural hair color as best as possible, and get that ombre done. Have it so that it gradates from gray to the dark color you have now. So then as things grow out, you now have less roots to worry about. And then as you get more to your natural color, you can decide what you want to do. You can leave it as is. If it needs a little bit of pop, but you're kind of liking the gray, you could always just color it gray to fix the texture and to give it a little shine. Or you might just want to color it, and that's cool too, but make sure it stays light this time. If you have more cool undertones, maybe an ashy brown, maybe you put in just a little bit of highlights or low lights in the hair instead and kind of do a mix. There's a lot of fun things you do, but try to avoid going too bright or too dark, because those are going to be in conflict with your natural coloring and may make you look older, and I don't think that's what you're trying to do. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you like this content, please subscribe, and you can find out more information about what colors look best on you at yourcolorstyle.com. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.